What is going on, FA Nation? My name is Justin Fensterman, along with Howard Bender, and it's another edition of Fantasy Alarm Sports Talk here. What's going on, my little Rob Baronis? How's your week going this week?
It's going pretty well, Fetsy. Actually, I forgot that we were even going to be talking today on the live stream. I was just looking at the DFS watch list to make sure that I was going to just kind of throw in a couple of updates here and there on a few players. Nothing crazy, but listen, with COVID news popping out and around, you always have to be on your toes and see if you can find some value on the DFS slate.
Well, that's what the watch list is for, and that's what you get every single week. Howard got that up. What, Howard? Tuesday night you got that up here. So we're going to keep going, and you want to stay ahead of the game. That's the whole point. So start looking now. Don't just wait until Sunday morning. Get ahead. Put those dummy lineups in, and then you smarten them up when you fine-tune them. And that is why we're going to go over some of Howard's players that he's watching out for when it comes to DFS when previewing the matchups. Now, how we've been doing this the last few weeks, or at least I have, when preparing, looking to see what games you have the most exposure to. And we've got some Vegas totals 50 and over. So naturally, we start there. And the first matchup that I have to talk to you about is that Texans-Jaguars matchup. Right now at 50.5 in Vegas. And I saw that there's not just one quarterback in that matchup that you seem to have your eye on, but there are two quarterbacks in that matchup. Please explain, for the love of God.
Well, I'm still trying to figure out if I put Jake Luton in there just to spite John Mpemba, who asks me on the DFS podcast all the time. He goes all the way down. He's like, Kyle Allen? And I'm like, no, stop it. But listen, I'm looking at Luton, and it's strictly matchup based. On the Texans side, Deshaun Watson. I mean, he's in a smash spot here. Can run him in himself. He can, throw for him. The Jags defense is not strong. Well, when you look at what's going on for the Jaguars, they're going to do a lot of running with James Robinson, who also made it into the watch list this week. And what that usually does is that, if it's successful, which it's against Houston, if the running game is successful, it opens up things for the passing game. It allows for play action to happen. All of a sudden, the safeties start biting a little bit more, and you got the receivers who are taking off on the, downfield. So we know that Doug Marrone has said that he wants more shots taken downfield by Luton. So that's going to kind of, it's going to put DJ Chark into play. It's going to put maybe Chris Conley into play a little bit more. But what it does, though, is that by opening up with play action, or opening it up for play action downfield, it gives the opportunities more for Luton to score some points. And then if you're also talking about the fact that maybe they're playing from behind at some point, well, then they're going to have to be all pass heavy too. So, Luton's a guy who didn't turn the ball over a lot in college. He's getting an opportunity right now. He just, well, I've got a love letter to Jake Luton for Fantasy Alarm Show on Sirius XM, so I won't spoil it yet.
Not
spoil I know you'll like it though, Feds.
Oh, I can't wait to listen. 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern time on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, Series 210, XM87. That's called Appointment Listening. Love letters, easily my favorite segment of that Fantasy Alarm Show. I miss it so much. Tear. What about my guy Chenault? You didn't mention Chenault at all. You know how much I love my Laviska Chenault. Do you like him at all?
It's that Swiss Army knife reputation that it tears me up inside. It really does. I mean, listen, I think he's fine. He's a good possession guy. Can he be the deep threat? We haven't seen him be the deep threat yet. So, I think that he's fine. But I mean, again, it's if I'm looking at for DFS purposes here, Chark, who should see the majority of targets from Luton, if he's going to be that downfield threat, if they're going to have him throw downfield, and then it's is it Conley, is it Laviska Shenault? I don't really know. So if you're playing multiple lineups and you want to have somebody coming back, for a Texans stack, and you want to do Watson, Fuller, and say Jordan Akins as a possibility, and then coming back, if you want to do it once with Chenault, fine. If you need to save some salary, if not, then you do DJ Chark.
I just feel like if I do want to go with Luton, who is cheap as hell, by the way, you look down that price point, you're not going to get a much better when it comes to value for that. And seeing him on DraftKings at 4,900 right now, I just feel like because I don't know what to expect that if I was still, because the matchup is good, going after him, I'd want to at least handcuff him with somebody else from that receiving core so I can at least get that double potential. I know it kind of puts me in a hole if he sucks, but at the same time, that's kind of how I operate when it comes to quarterbacks I'm not sure with, but still have a very solid matchup. I add in one of those cheap receivers just to have something else to up that point total.
Yeah, sure. And listen, you know what? I mean, if you're a multi-lineup person, I really don't see a reason why you wouldn't do a Luton, James Robinson, DJ Chark stack, or instead of Chark, you do Chenault and save a little money, and then have somebody like Will Fuller coming back against you. I wouldn't be averse to doing that if I'm max entry. I mean, there are going to be a number of quarterbacks and players you're going to want, but yeah, I mean, listen, if you're gonna toy around with that kind of a lineup so that you can get like Dalvin Cook in there and Devonte, well, not Devonte Adams because he may or may not play on Thursday night. But I mean, listen, if you want to, you get Hopkins in there, you get Dalvin Cook in there, probably stash like, Derrick Henry in the flex or something like that. I mean, all of that is definitely possible for you if you're going to do that Jag stack, but just understand that it's, obvious risk.
You mentioned Devonte Adams, and I was going to ask you this a little bit later on, and this is just an opinion question because I don't think you know the answer to this, but I'm still going to bring it up. When we're entering contests for DFS for that main slate, week 9, dealing with what we're currently dealing with the Thursday night game, is there a chance at all that is moved to Sunday and then DraftKings and FanDuel add that to the main slate? Pretty much what I'm asking is, should we wait on entering contests until we figure out where this game is going?
No, I think, listen, I've had like a lot of conversations about contest selection. And if you find a contest that you are particularly fond of, that you want to enter every week because, you like the fact that it's, fewer than 700 people in a GPP where they're paying out 25% of the field, well, then it doesn't matter if this Green Bay game's on the slate or not. So, no, I don't think it matters at all. I mean, play your contest, play the smart contest that you want. If this opens up the player pool, well, then, so be it. I don't think they would, though. I think because they've got the prices all set right now, I'd be very surprised to see them added. I know that they got a lot of crap for, someone taking – someone adding the Sunday night to it and not adding the Sunday night. And I think that they kind of want to avoid that as much as possible. Not to mention, I think if the NFL moves the game, they're going to end up moving it to Monday.
Right. I mean,
because who wants to watch the Patriots against the Jets?
No one. I was going to say, should we all get together? Maybe you, me, and John and Pemba, who's producing this amazing live stream. Should we all get together and beg the NFL to not have this game on national television?
Just put Aaron Rodgers opposite him. It doesn't matter what time. Like, I mean, obviously the NFL is going to want to maximize their dollars, but
of course,
come on, man. Nobody, not even diehard Jets and Patriots fans want to watch this game. So you might as well give the Monday night, folks, a little something. Move the Jets and Patriots up to like the early one, So it's like, so they're playing at like 5 p.m. on Monday, and then for the regular Monday night game, you go with the Packers.
God, that's such a great idea. I wish that would happen, but it's not going to happen, and we'll all have to suffer together. And then Pemba and I get to talk about it on Alarm After Hours post game. That's going to be fun. Let's go over some more players.
22 guys on the field lying down, just staring at the sky, being like, "I don't want to win. I don't want to win either."
Is it I mean, they're thinking, is it January yet? Come on. Is it January? Seriously. They should just forfeit. But other quarterbacks that are not forfeiting, let's talk about some of them that you have in the watch list. And when it comes to this next matchup, Lions, Vikings, I want to take a big old bite out of that matchup. Both sides. I want it. And I got a zillion questions I'm going to ask you about because I have a lot of weird thoughts going on and up here in my mind.
Sure.
So the first one is Matthew Stafford. Now, with him, The price point, 7,500, 6,600. You just gave me a great sell regarding Luton. Regarding Stafford, with Kenny Golladay out of the way, Marvin Jones, I mean, the last few weeks have been very good for him. He's going to be getting top shadows, though, until Golladay returns. That's my concern with him. As for Stafford, though, we've seen him still be able to produce without Golladay. What are your expectations against this amazing Vikings defense?
Well, that's the thing, is that's the Vikings defense, and they're terrible, and the secondary just took another hit, this past week. So, I'm not worried about heavier coverage floating onto Marvin Jones, because they just don't have anybody in Minnesota to work over him like that. So, Marvin Jones, Marvin Hall, possibly Quintez Cephas might be interesting. Like, Cephas and Hall are guys who could make the dartboard just because they're going to be so cheap. And yeah, listen, it's, I mean, it's weird. Like, the one thing that I'm worried about with this game is, because I hate Matt Patricia and Darrell Bevel, is that I would hate to see them just continuously run Adrian Peterson again. Like, it drives me nuts that these coaches are like rolling out these, old farts, and leaving guys like DeAndre Swift sitting on the bench. And so that's kind of, that's obviously a concern. It's Peterson against his original team, and does Patricia give him the rock, 20 times in order to make that happen? That's the one thing that worries me about this Detroit offense here. But I still think Stafford gets enough of his to at least give me, 260, 275 with 2 or 3 touchdowns.
Can one of them go to TJ Hawkinson? Because I'm looking for some kind of consistency regarding this tight end position. And that has been very difficult to find. And with the few players that you can rely on at the position, no more George Kittle as well. So now I'm looking at players who are at least getting some targets there. And TJ Hawkinson has been one of those guys. No Kenny Golladay. The price point is very nice for him, especially on DraftKings. He's going to be in a few of my lineups for sure.
Yeah, I think, when you're coming down to talking about Hawkinson, he's been very consistent. He's getting 9 to 11 fantasy points on average each week. I mean, it's not be all end all kind of stuff, but I mean, again, what are you looking for from the tight end position, really? In your lineups, you're hoping to get a touchdown. I mean, if you can get some yardage out of it, great. But if you don't have Kelsey or Andrews or, Darren Waller, then you're not going to get as much as you want. Whereas Minnesota does rank pretty low against the tight end. So, maybe Hawkinson gets a couple of extra looks. Maybe he actually gives you, 50, 60 yards and a touchdown. I mean, listen, I would definitely take that.
Yeah, I would too. And you know what? I actually like some of these tight end values that I'm looking at right now. And the first one, and this is one that I just want to put out there just because I can't stop thinking about something Andrew Cooper, our tight end whisperer, new tight end whisperer, said on Twitter.
He's still riding the Gesicki train now. I don't know.
But you know the reason.
I can't give him the baton. Yeah, the reason is he's ignoring Jakeem Grant.
Right. So one of the things, I will say this, one of the things that Coop did say was, with Isaiah Ford now traded away and he was splitting slot snaps with Gesicki, maybe that gives him a little bit more love. However, not this week, because I'm not going to have anything to do with that Dolphins offense, especially with no Gaskin. I mean, I can't put that confidence. What did we see out of Tua? Nothing. It was his first game. That's what it was. First start. That's what it was. That's what we saw. Nothing really stood out at all. And for that, I'm not going to try to be too cute. And I feel like going after those Dolphins players. And I tried last week and I failed. I totally failed. I was all in on Preston Williams. I was all in on Gesicki, who I hung on to just for this moment when the QB change happened. And what did we see? More of the same crap where neither are really involved, neither are really getting targeted. And for anyone that's about to ask me about a Dolphins player, I can't really endorse it. Matt Breida, okay, maybe Matt Breida, but what are we looking at? We're all going into this blind if we're going to rely on Miami.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, listen, Matt Breida probably just got hurt because I said his name.
That's true.
And he'll play for like a quarter, and then he'll come out for a quarter, and then he'll come back in, and it'll be like Willis Reed in the 72
Wow.
NBA finals there, right? Where like all of a sudden he's like trucking his way out or whatever, whichever game it was.
Yeah, please stop mentioning Willis Reed and legendary Knicks. I might need a few minutes to myself, and you could be on your own. So please just stop doing that right now.
But like that's Breida's thing. So I mean, listen, Breida, Jordan Howard, I can't rely on that ground game at all. Beat writers aren't giving us the proper news that we need. They trade for DeAndre Washington, who can't play with them this week. It'll be the week after. But again, I think if we're looking at the crux of this offense, to sit there and talk about, I'm not going to purport Gesicki as being the be all end all here when, okay, he's splitting slot snaps with Isaiah Ford, but right. Jakeem Grant is getting work also. You look at the snap counts right here. I've got them in front of me. 35% of the snaps went to Isaiah Ford. 33% of the offensive snaps went to Jakeem Grant. So, it's like a close to an even split for those two right there. And then you've got Gesicki, who, he's seeing like he's 57% of the snaps. He probably saw, half those snaps, third of those snaps in the slot, right? So, I mean, it's not, it's not like things are like suddenly blossoming for him and they're going to open up the floodgates and start, hitting him as a slot receiver on a regular basis. I think he's got better than average value there for somebody for the tight end position, but I'm not going banana cakes over it at all.
One more tight end I want to bring up and discuss. Evan Engram. I was looking at targets lately, and from the production, he's been targeted a lot, actually. You really have to dive into the numbers to really see how involved he's been. And over the last couple of weeks, I mean, we saw it a couple of weeks ago, just missed a pretty big play that could have upped that point total. Then what we saw, 10 targets in his past game, and yeah, he went 5 for 61. However, going into this matchup against that Washington football team, what do you think? You like him as a value?
I guess this is like that moment where it's like, all right, this is your last chance. All right, I am done with you if you don't come through right now. The matchup could not be any softer for coverage against tight ends than it is against Washington. The thing about it is that Daniel Jones needs to make sure that he gets the ball out of his hands real quick. But exactly what he did against Tampa Bay in that first half of the game, just boom, take it, just 2 seconds, boom, drop, throw the ball to somebody. That means that Engram really needs to kind of pay attention. He needs to focus. It wasn't like he had 5 drops. He had 10 targets, but I'm sure 3 of those 5, that were considered misses were like 8 feet over Engram's head. It was crazy how bad Daniel Jones looked at times. So this is the very last time. If Engram can't, hit it well here against the Washington football team, then we really need to walk away from him. I'm looking at other tight ends in seasonal.
Right. Yeah. Trust me, I'm with you on that. It's been literally a shuffle the entire year. And it's funny because this is the first year ever that I had Travis Kelce, and I have him on 2 teams. And I'm like, thank God.
Right? It feels good, right?
First time ever. I had never had a tight end that was being the number 1 tight end. I wasn't drafting Gronk 10 years ago. No, I was always waiting for the Austin Seferian-Jenkins to see if I could hit on that and wait till the 13th round. I know I get very slimy when it comes to drafting tight ends. I've learned my lesson, though. Not that fun if you trying to be too cute. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I mean, again, it depends on where you're fishing for tight ends, and understand that if you're going to stream, and this is one of the things, and I know that we're talking DFS here, but this is one of the things that seasonal owners screw up on a regular basis. Stop asking me which crap tight end I like better rest of season. Stop asking me which crap quarterback I like better rest of season. The fact of the matter is, guys, is that if you're using players at that level, they're streamers. Doesn't matter who you like more rest of season. It's who you like more this week. That's like making it like DFS. All right. who do you like this week? I don't give a crap about his matchup next week. Doesn't matter to me at all. What matters to me is that he's going to help me win my game this week. So, if you're streaming tight end or you're streaming quarterback, accept the fact that that's what you're doing and stop worrying about week 12 with your quarterback position because you still don't have anybody for week 9.
And I'm going to put an emphasis on that, and then we'll move on to under 500 teams. What Howard just said, we're looking right at you. You don't have that luxury. Even undefeated teams, look at the environment we're dealing with this year. You don't have that luxury. So you're sure as hell not going to have that luxury if you're under 500. So that's some great advice right there, and it will save you a lot of time, and it will keep you disciplined on that waiver wire every week. Because for some reason, I keep getting tweets, oh, I missed waivers. No. Do not miss waivers. I fell asleep twice last year. Howard Bender and Jim Bowden gave me so much crap, but they were giving me crap that I deserved. Why am I missing waivers? That's unacceptable. This year, alarm clock. I have it set at 11 p.m. Eastern every time. I don't have to worry about that because I have alarm after hours now, thank God. That's helping with the discipline. But still as a reminder, just to check, just to make sure that I can handle it, that I've handled waivers. That's the reminder that all of you should have. Back to DFS, because now we get to talk about the pinata matchup. And that pinata matchup, the Steelers and the Cowboys, because you've got a decent amount of options in that watch list from this game. Rightfully so. I mean, Big Ben is in there. James Conner is in there as well. Now, my question to you is regarding Ezekiel Elliott. Do you take what J.K. Dobbins did last week and apply that to Zeke, being like, Dobbins just did this against the Steelers? Why can't Zeke?
Because Zeke doesn't really have the offensive line anymore to do that. Zeke also, kind of funny. Zeke doesn't have that burst of speed that you'd like to see in a running back. I feel like, in all honesty, he's gotten a little fat and soft. He lifted up his shirt to show his tattoo, and I was like, does that dude have a belly now all of a sudden? Like, is he not, where's that ripped six-pack that he's supposed to have coming out of his Ohio State uniform?
It's under construction.
It is. It's under construction. Just building a shed over the old tool there. That's all I'm doing. But listen, I don't think that I think what you need is a little something more down the road if you're looking at Zeke. Like, I can't buy into him against Pittsburgh here only because the offensive line stinks right now. He's not looking good. And then, why not stack the box? You can't stack the box against the running game for the Ravens because Lamar Jackson will beat you on the outside, and he's got, he can throw the ball downfield at times. We don't know nothing about no Cooper Rush or who's this?
Garrett Gilbert.
Oh yeah, Garrett Gilbert.
You know who would know about Garrett Gilbert? Our
from
buddy
the AAF.
Yep, Rini and Golia would know about Garrett Gilbert. I believe he was on Orlando.
He was the Orlando Apollo's quarterback. And that's great, but I mean, are we gonna bank on Garrett Gilbert? Mm-hmm. No, probably not.
Nope.
So that's why I'm anti-Zeke right now. Until they have somebody legitimate under center, there's really no reason to not stack the box and blitz on a regular basis.
Gotten a lot of these questions about this player too, because I notice you also have Chase Claypool on that watch list. And I keep getting these questions. What about Deontay Johnson? Well, Deontay Johnson has to prove to me that he can stay on the field the entire game for me to invest in him. That price point's going to go down and down and down. And it's going to become more and more appealing naturally. I need to see that this guy is healthy. That's where I stand on Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, and listen, I'm kind of the same way too. Going in and out of the lineup there is never good for him. I forgot what his exact numbers were. One catch against the Ravens off of 3 targets. The week before that, it was 15 targets. Listen, Deontay Johnson will have great value because his price will be, minimal. I mean, I put Chase Claypool in there because he's kind of like right there in the middle. Like, he's still not as priced up as Juju Smith-Schuster is. And he's not as low as Deontay Johnson is. And I was just kind of, when you want a piece of this passing game, I just have, this is why it's called a watch list. Because you look and you say, "Oh, Chase Claypool, huh?" And then you read the blurb and you're like, "Oh, well, it does, hasn't really said that he's going to step out over Juju or Deontay Johnson." It's just you have to watch this situation. You have to kind of feel it out as you move closer and closer. And then when you're building your lineups, then it's about also who you can afford.
Right.
Do you like the matchup, the wide receiver cornerback matchup for Johnson more than you like it for Claypool? Yes. Okay. Then if that's the case, do you have the is the price right for you? Yes, it is. And if he doesn't have as good a matchup as Claypool, does Claypool's salary fit? I mean, it's just that kind of a thing that you have to pay attention to.
Yes, and that's why I'm glad you just said that, because we should just make sure it's noted. I mean, if you're on with us, if you're riding with the family, you know that DFS playbook comes out later on in the week. This is just to whet the appetite. Howard always says that, and that's what it should be. You should not be using it just to set your lineups today. You want to put some of the players in, you better go back. We've seen how things can change in an hour. So just remember that. This is not the playbook. And I have to say that because I had a few friends that have asked me, when you and Howard talk about these on your live streams, are these the final plays? And I say, it's the watch list. And if you don't know that, Howard, and this is a great time to talk about one of the best values on the internet, it's our Black Friday package at fantasyalarm.com. You go to fantasyalarm.com/Black Friday, $97, all our products. I got to be honest with you, man. As someone who writes content and videos, does videos, shows, promoting, this is a steal of a deal. I'm almost mad that it's that low, but I want more people to win. Holiday season's coming up. Let's not pay for those gifts. Let's let those DFS sites pay for our gifts. That's what I got to say about that. $97. That's a sweet deal right there.
Yeah, listen, $97. You do that deal, that can also afford you the opportunity to get your friends the Rosetta Stone so that they can learn how to read properly, right? Because I say in the watch list all the time, Fessy, this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to get some Rosetta Stone for all your friends and teach them how to read English, because it says it in bold type and in red every time on the watch list. This piece will be continuously updated throughout the week based on the most recent news and injuries, which means you may see a name or two removed as we get closer to kickoff. So
not allowed.
Those people who keep asking you, Fedzy, is this the just point them there. Just point them right there.
It's like, if you're going to ask me that, you clearly don't know what it's like to be part of the family. Come on, family is huge. We can only want more members of that family. We are a nation. That's how it works on fantasyalarm.com. So just had to get that in there because it frustrates me when I have friends that are continuously IMing me, ask me at the final, dude, just go to the site. It's a great deal, our Black Friday package, fantasyalarm.com/Black Friday. You're bringing certain things out of me, pent up aggression that I've had from last week. It's like a game of Operation. Bzz, bzz. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now. Let's talk about Christian McCaffrey, because he is practicing. And with him being back, 9,500 on FanDuel, 8,500 on DraftKings, going up against the Chiefs. You put him on the watch list. He's practicing. You don't think they're going to hold him back at all, do you?
I'm not really sure if they're going to hold him back or not. That's the thing. I want to see, what's going on. He returned to practice on Wednesday. I want to see what they're saying about him. Rule and Brady, aren't guys who are going to sit there and play games. Rule and Brady are going to be like, we like him. He looks good in practice. We feel good about him. He's back to, the starting position. And that's what you got to deal with McCaffrey. So if he's active, I mean, listen, for that kind of a price tag of 8,500 on DraftKings, 90, 94, 92, whatever on FanDuel. What is he on FanDuel?
He's 8,500 on FanDuel.
He's 85 on FanDuel, and what is he on DraftKings?
95 on FanDuel, 85 on DraftKings.
See, there you go. So I mean, for that kind of a price tag, I mean, I would probably want to see him, in action, but for the same token, it's McCaffrey. It's a great spot against the Chiefs. They're going to be throwing a bunch. That he's going to be on the field. and you know how bad the Chiefs are, not only against the run itself, but against running back pass plays. So I would say that I'll probably build. I mean, if I'm building, GPP lineups, I'll probably build like 3 or 4 this week, and one of them will have McCaffrey. If I'm building a cash lineup, I mean, I'll wait to see what kind of ownership, projections we're looking at for him, but I might have him in one of the cash lineups with immediate pivots, for cheaper players otherwise. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's depressing when you see how pricey he is, but I mean, it's what you got to deal with.
He's the top dog when he's on that field. That's
top dog. He's the top dog.
He's the top dog.
He's the top dog, Fensty. Justin Fensterman, everybody. He's the top dog.
You can't take the New Yorker out of this guy, Howard. I got the shade to prove it right there. He's Howard Bender. I'm Justin Fensterman. FantasyAlarm.com. Always dominate. No other option. Catch Howard Bender and Jim Bowden on Fantasy Alarm on Sirius 210 XM87 from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. You can catch me and Adam Ronis on Alarm After Hours from 1 to 3 a.m. Eastern. We thank John and Pemba for tolerating us once again and dealing with us, John. We know it's your favorite part of your week. Come on, admit it. Always dominate. Hey, no, there is no other option. You get that Black Friday package, you'll just win.